It feels like a film when you're walking down here. I can't even imagine walking down here for like the last time next year when I'm graduating, because so much happened right here in this area. And I remember my mom talking to me about how when you look back on certain things that happened that you thought were like really a big deal in your life at that point of time, and then after 2 years or 3 years you look back on them and you find out they mattered nothing. And you can just imagine how amazing it is when you look back on all the way you've went, standing on the point where you got to. But anyways, you can see the school right now, and I am pretty proud to say at this point that this is where it all happened. I think people assume that I've always been like this. As in loud, confident, and sure of myself. Well, honestly, there was a time when that was really true. In grade 8, my life felt almost unreal. I was everywhere. I was co-head of student government, head of press department, vice president of debate club. I hosted district-wise conferences. I gave a ton of speeches at my own school, at other schools, in front of legal institutions, in front of hundreds and thousands of kids just like me, everywhere you could imagine. I managed a basketball club with over 60 people, in which over 50 of them were boys. And I was not only female, but only person in the whole promotion department. And I performed a lot. And least to mention, I was really an academic weapon. In other words, I was good at things. And more importantly, I knew that I was good at things. I had never questioned my worth back then, and I had never ever questioned whether I deserved to be seen. And honestly, being raised in an environment where most feedbacks I've ever gotten was positive, it turned me into a complete perfectionist, and it was painful. Okay, Mom, when did you first notice that Emma was hard on herself?
I noticed it really early on, probably when she was still in grade 1. I remember there was a big event. She had a fever, a really bad fever, and we wanted her to stay at home, but she refused. She just insisted on going. I can still remember she was texting me all day about how sick she was feeling, and she sent me the message, just ask me to hug her when she's back home, but she stayed and finished the whole event. And that is when I realized that she just couldn't let herself step back. Even her body was telling her to rest.
I knew I was good, and I knew that for some reasons, people were expecting things from that 13-year-old kid. And I knew that was my fault because I got myself into all of that.
So if anyone asked the 13-year-old Emma, what's your biggest fear? Would she actually say not being perfect?
Yeah, actually, even bigger than biggest fear. For her, it was like all the bugs in the whole world flying to her at the same time, if that makes sense. And then there's one day when, not even when my biggest road show got canceled. I was in my mom's car with this huge bag that I carry with me every single time I have a show. And then the boss of the music studio just sent me a message and said there was an urgent notice from the government saying that they're canceling all the performances happening around the district. All the exact reasons were unknown. All the staff were already there. The equipment was set up, the lightings, the sounds, performers, everyone was ready to go. I saw at least 100 people already filling in the audience seats, and they were yelling and going at the staff when they told them that the show was not going to happen anymore. I was watching it. All I could think was they looked so disappointed in me. And I thought it was my fault because it felt like such a huge thing about me. And I wasn't able to make it happen because of some miserable behind-the-scenes decisions that was just fairly impossible for a 13-year-old to control. But the next thing I know, I was sitting at McDonald's with my mom, my makeup still on, so apparently not crying because I was more confused than sad. So honestly, it wasn't anything too dramatic, but looking back on it, that was the first time that someone ever told me that, no, Emma, you cannot do this, even if you're 1,000% prepared. And sadly, that was like the one thing that I remembered before I moved. And now that I think back about it, again, it kind of foreshadowed a lot of things. It's just creepy how fate works sometimes. So see, when I arrived in Canada, I told myself one thing. I have to do something big. Because, fairly speaking, after being seen for such a long time, the idea of disappearing terrified me. I made a whole 4-year plan from my grade 9 year all the way to grade 12 year on that little desk on the plane, and you have no idea how excited I was.
I don't usually act as a typical mom, like constantly asking her to go to bed early or make sure she eats every meal, because I know her well. I know she's incredibly organized, but she prioritizes things differently. If she chooses to stay up late or skip one meal, that means she has more important things going on. She makes conscious choices, not just being careless. So I've learned to trust her judgment, even it worries me sometimes.
This is something that was given to me during my sort of explains, how very advanced students, it's like a race car on the regular street with the other cars that are sort of like regular passenger cars. I wanted to know what your take on these would be.
Okay, actually pretty relatable to the first common myth that is mentioned here. It says, gifted students do not need help. If they are really gifted, they can manage on their own. That is not true at all. I cannot count the times that I have received help from so many people, and if that never happened, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today. As far as I can see, what the race car story is talking about is, this is gonna be really bad to say, but in order to be defined as being good in any kind of aspect, you need to be recognized and your skills need to be realized by at least someone. And I know we are not supposed to live in other people's perspectives, but that's somehow like how things work for everyone, not just like gifted students, but also normal people. I entered the country on a visitor visa. I submitted my study permit application like months ago, and I was certain that it would be approved in no time. It wasn't. My parents and I called every day, sometimes twice a day. My dad even emailed the Prime Minister. Basically, we reached out to every single person we could reach out to, and all we got back was one sentence, still under process. And I freaked out. I never had less control of anything else ever before in my whole life. And it was even something that really mattered to me and my family at that time. And when we got the email telling us about the school orientation, I kind of knew that that was the last chance for me. So anyhow, I got up early that day. My mom was asking me if I was serious about going, and I just said, best case scenario, they do nothing. Worst case scenario, they sent me home. Anyways, I'm gonna get to see the school. I was banned from school after that because rules are rules. Until one more month later, October 3rd, a few days before that date, my study visa was finally approved. That should have been the moment everything felt okay again, but it wasn't, because I walked into that building knowing one thing: no one here knew who I was, and for the first time in my life, I actually didn't know who I was. G section. It's hard to say how I feel about this section specifically. It's sort of like a huge combination of misery and excitement, but at the same time, it's so important to me in so many time stamps in my life right here at this school. This is where basketball takes place. This is where I first decided I was gonna join musical theater, and I did, which we're gonna go into more later. But this whole thing was not exactly smooth either. And now that we've gotten here, I feel like nothing in my life has been smooth in any way, which is pretty hilarious if you think about it. But you'll see what happens. To be honest, I did not know what in the world was happening around me, so I did the one thing that I knew how to do. I ran, physically. Before I was even allowed back in school, I went to a basketball open gym, mostly because basketball was something I recognized and something that didn't really care about action or seating plans or whatever that I was being traumatized by. So I thought to myself, if only I could make the team, it would feel like approved that I belong somewhere, right? So that's what I went for. But anyways, the tryouts, they were fast, they were confusing, and everybody seemed like they already knew each other and knew everything, while I absolutely didn't. And you know what the funniest part was? I actually made the team, somehow. I didn't even know how. And at the same time, my not too bad English plays kind of allowed me to jump straight into local students' English classes and like skipping the whole ELL program. And honestly, on paper, that was impressive. And honestly, at first, I was really proud of it. However, afterwards, realized that I was constantly translating, and not only the languages, I was translating social rules, tones. I got scared whenever I was getting ready to say hi to anyone. I basically just got scared whenever I talked to anyone, and that was overwhelming. Also, at the same time, basketball practices were also happening. Practices and the games stretched my whole day from early morning till late at night, and that kept on going for months after months, and that was, honestly, that was like hell. What I could do at that time, honestly, it was only to keep telling myself that this is temporary, it'll pass, I just need to push through it, and everything's gonna be okay later. I really just didn't realize how close I was to the edge. What did you notice about how seriously Emma took things?
She's really chilled about what she eats or uses or wears or even where she lives. She never cares about those kind of stuff. But when it comes to her goals or the things she wants to accomplish, she goes like madly serious, so serious that sometimes scares me.
And that kind of physical exhaustion, it wore off the guilt. I actually sucked at basketball, and I am not even joking about it. But people were not really mean about it. Most people actually try to be nice, but you know, when people do that, when people try not to hurt you, that means there is something to protect. And honestly, when you are actually in an environment where everybody else is just better at you at this thing that you're doing, you don't need anyone to tell you anything. You can just feel it. Basically, I was being constantly reminded of how far behind I was.
I remember there was this one summer, she took 3 levels of pipa exams. Pipa is a kind of music instrument, very difficult, and 3 levels means 3 separate exams. Plus, she took 1 level of vocal exam and 1 music theory exam, all at once. And she was sick. We tried to persuade her to quit, but she at least quit some of the exams, but she insisted, and she passed all the exams and got high scores. So that is her. She commits to something. She goes like all in. She gives everything she has. It doesn't matter it's a small commitment or a big goal. When she said she'd do it, she'd follow through completely.
I had never felt worse about myself in my whole life.
Right here it says, gifted students are often perfectionistic and idealistic. That's true. I hate to say it, but how can it be so true? And I hate that it's true. So one line can be actually connected to the last truth here, where it says, gifted students who do well in school may define success, but their grades and failures as anything less than an A.
I didn't want special treatment, right? So I didn't tell anyone about this. My pride, my stupid pride, was whispering in my sleep because I didn't want anyone to think that I couldn't handle it. Which is funny if you think about it, because honestly, at that point, no one cared. I was trying to prove more to myself that Emma was still that Emma in the good old days when she was on everything, when she was still able to do everything, when she was not scared of anything that was coming up to her. And then I looked back at myself at that time, and I thought to myself, goodness gracious, what a downfall. So that's why I never really allowed myself to slow down in any way. And as we all know, administration is like the first thing you see when you come into a school, right? Miss K is such a sweet person. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure I asked way too many questions that I was finding myself annoying. I don't think she did, but at least I did. But anyways, she was such a great help for me when I did not know anything at all. But what happened after here was that I found out there's way more that I didn't know of. I was expected to keep up academically, athletically, socially, all at once, and I couldn't, fairly speaking. And if I were ever to talk about school in general, some people were neutral, some people were friendly, and most people were not kind.
There I started to realize it is just impossible to be perfect. Every single time, it's gonna like drain you out. The problem is, despite everything that happened, like with the dictation and so many other things that happened later, both academically and mentally and emotionally, I think, I'm still like a perfection freak.
2 case scenarios, In loud hallways, it will be eye rolls. In quieter hallways, it will be whispers. So, for 2 whole months, I ate lunch in a washroom stall. Was there ever a moment where you actually felt worried about Emma?
I wasn't worried until I saw the little pink shirt, date shirt, where you're supposed to write down if you had bullying experience. Then I was worried. You look like you were getting along with everybody and well liked in the class.
I was 14, and there were days where I really didn't know if I was gonna make it through. I still don't really know how I actually made it through. I mean, I almost didn't make it through. Could be fear of judgment or whatever. It could be just the instinct to survive. Could be my stupid stubbornness. But all I could do was to tell myself that it's all gonna pass. And as long as you work hard enough for yourself, it'll be okay. I was not okay. Not at all. Do you think people expected a lot from Emma from a young age?
From the point of view of our whole family, to be honest, at first, when she was little, we just wanted her to be happy and be around with people at her same level. I mean, the people who she can connect with intellectually and emotionally. She kept exceeding our expectations, like going beyond what we thought she could do. You know, when people kept surprising you like this, you naturally started to have more expectations. When she grows up, we gradually realize that she can only be truly happy when she has goals and working toward them. She rarely let herself doing nothing. Like this year, she's taking AP Capstone, AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Calculus, and all the courses. And she's only in grade 11, by the way. And she has all the performances, clubs, after-school courses, and she's writing her songs, she's writing her novels, all the commitments. She's literally busy like every minute of every day. But we can feel that she's really happy.
See, I didn't know how to save myself exactly, but I know one thing, which is I could not at all afford to disappear. That was when I saw the Rebel Nations audition so many years ago. And I signed up almost immediately, not because I believed in myself, but mostly because I knew I needed to move in some way. But honestly, at that point, my confidence was so crippled. So I was just grabbing every chance I could to prove to people that I was still something. That was the band room. And see, Miss Carly and Mr. Wong had been telling me to join band. I never did. My mom walked me to school the day of the audition. I brought my own guitar. I brought my own amp. So apparently I didn't know what I was doing because they literally had everything set up for me. And you know what's over there? Choir. And you know what Mr. Wong did? He had been trying to convince me to join choir. I didn't. I should have. I forgot, however, to bring my guitar strap. So I sang the whole song, sitting down, out of breath from running to school with an amp and a guitar. And I just didn't really think much about it after the audition. When did you first notice Emma in a music setting and what stood out to you?
I first met Emma when she was in my guitar class in grade 10. Not just my guitar class, I was sharing with Mr. Wong. But anyway, she was so confident with guitar already, so she had some pretty impressive guitar skills coming into the class. There's usually mostly beginners in that class. And then I remember we had a composition assignment that we did. And so that's the first time that I got to see her singing and playing guitar with a composition that she'd written herself. So that definitely stood out because it was really good and all the students in class really liked it. And we hadn't really had anything like that in our class before. So
Anyways, I was not expecting anything anymore. And a month later, I got an email saying that I passed, and I was not surprised. Not because I thought I was really good, but because I honestly stopped looking forward to anything anymore. I actually had the time of my life up there on that stage. When I was backstage in the dressing room, I just telling myself, it's okay if the curtain rises up and then nobody claps, nobody cheers. It's okay if 600 people just stares at you like you're some, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But that night, I actually heard the loudest cheers and applause I've ever heard in my entire 15 years of life. It was coming from everywhere, surprisingly. I audibly heard my friend Candace screaming out my name from the upper left side of the audience. I saw my parents and Julia, my other friend, holding up and waving around that gigantic cardboard with my name, Emma Yuan, on it that my mom made 2 days before the show. And that was the first day within the 6 months that I felt people looking at me with no pity or doubt at all for the first time. And that mattered way more than I thought it would. I would still like walk down a hallway and walk into a person. I might know them, they might know me. But anyways, that person would actually, I would see them stop, turn around, look at me, and say to my face that, "Good job at Rebel Nations." And I was just like, oh my God, that was flattering. That never ever happened before. And when something too good happens right after something crazy bad, you would get this feeling. And I'm just gonna say my very own case here. I get cautious. And by that, I mean I get extremely cautious because I get really scared of just losing it all again. I think that was when my brain kind of just started leading me towards all the other paths that could have just walked me onto a completely different set of life compared to what I had at that time. And then as I was thinking about all the different possibilities of my life, what about the people who didn't sign up for the audition? What about the people who don't raise their hands, don't speak up for themselves, and just thought they're like better off invisible? I didn't survive because I was like the strongest person in the whole world. I mean, at this point, you can kind of see how breakable I was. I survived because someone gave me an actual space for me to speak up for myself and show people who I actually am. And Rebel Nations really was not the only one. In my whole grade 9 year, it was miserable, it was messy, it was chaotic, but I never had a better time in that whole year than in that room. Like, you will see what happened later.
I just want to clarify, this is my second interview.
Yes, this is Mr. Marzouk's second interview. What made you trust Emma with skipping the grade in math?
She was a new student coming from China, I believe, and she came to ask me if she can skip a year in math. So in general, we don't let students skip, but we can accelerate students in math honor program. So in the beginning, I said, we don't skip, but I'll give her the chance. The reason, because I find that she is eager to move up and she feels that she's capable to challenge a grade which is higher. So I said, okay, I'll give you a chance. How about look at the curriculum, come back, tell me if you can do it or not. She came back right away and she said, yes, I can do it all. How about I'll give you an exam to challenge it. If you are successful with 86%, I'll move you up. If not, you have to stay in your class. She came 2 days after, said, okay, I give her exam, and I was impressed, to be honest. The way she showed the answers step by step, the communication skills she showed in her answers, and the organization, plus the correct answer by the end. So I had no hesitation, believe that she's capable to be in the honor stream, and I moved her 1 grade up at that year.
Was there ever a moment where you actually felt worried about Emma?
In fact, yes. In the beginning, I thought that she cannot connect with her peers or the other student in class. I was worried that she is younger than them and she will withdraw. But to be honest, she disappointed me, because within 2-3 weeks, she was like melted in the community. It doesn't matter where she is. She make friends with everybody around her. So I wasn't worried about her after that. And as you know, she is in every single club and every single event. She is there. So there is no way to worry about Emma in the future.
There was this whole charade with my Japanese class, which is right over there. We're gonna get there real soon. I got here when I was in grade 9, and supposedly and technically I was supposed to be in Japanese 9. But also, considering the fact that I was taking Japanese for already 2 years back in Shanghai, I found that I might potentially have the ability to skip a grade or 2 in that course. And I would say that was a pretty struggling experience for both me and my Japanese teacher, Miss T. But we somehow were able to figure it out, and I was able to finish Japanese 12 last year when I was in grade 10. And this room was where all the magic happened. Okay, hello, Miss T. Thank you for rejoining us on this interview. Thank you so much. When Emma told you she wanted to move ahead in this course, Japanese specifically, what made you believe that she was ready for the challenge?
Okay, and it was not belief so much, it was very evident that she was ready.
My first year here, I was in Japanese 9, right? So the first day I came back to school, Miss T came up to me and she was like, oh, you are that mystery student. And I was like, yeah, I know. I just haven't been shown up due to some very serious study permit issues. I started giving up on trying to make everything perfect. And that made my life so much easier.
So the thought just kind of lingered in my head, and I was like, I want to build that space for other people. Like, I want people to have that space where they can just talk and they can just say whatever that rolls off the top of their tongue and say what's on top of their mind and just express in a completely safe space. And by that, I mean judgments are absolutely banned from that space. By that, I mean when someone is talking, the only thing you do is to listen and express empathy. This really is the most important part of my entire time here, and I'm not even saying this really is the most important one. This is definitely not where everything proceeded successfully. Actually, barely anything proceeded well in here, but this is where everything turned out to be good, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's such an unreasonable thing, because the whole process just did not make sense at all, but it was just rushing everywhere in my mind. I just had this idea, I'm gonna found this club. It's gonna be called Orators Society. People talk here. That's all. That's literally all I had in my mind before I started reaching out. Well, funny enough, I was reaching out to people that I wasn't even really close with, because let's face it, I was not close with anyone at that time. I was so nervous every time I hit send, And I was 100% prepared for people to say no and to judge, because people have been doing that, and people have been doing that so much that I just know that they would do that, and yes, they did. They did, but slowly, people said yes. We were not the loudest kids, and we were not the most confident ones either. To be honest, I was not confident at all about how good or how bad this would all go, but they were, when I reached out, they were the only ones who actually said, yes, Emma, this is a great idea, let's do it. And it still blows me away how much they were willing to believe in me when I just had nothing and nobody else.
So now the whole family, especially her grandparents, they see things differently. They want her to be happy too, but they want her not to work so hard. They want her to enjoy life without pressure. They feel like with everything we can offer, she doesn't need to push herself so hard. In a way, they think she's kind of overlooking what she already has.
I was doing everything on my own because I felt the need to. And if you tell me that you think that a good leader is supposed to be able to know how to divide and conquer the jobs, I'm going to tell you right now, I had nothing to divide, and I had no idea what I was about to conquer. And it was brutal enough just to ask my people to be my executives at that time when I had no idea what I was doing. I could not imagine putting the pressure of doing anything else on them at that time.
Old habits, you know, it's just hard to like get myself out of a certain status that I have been in for so long, for like 15, 16 years. I am still a perfectionist and I want things to go well so bad, but honestly, for now, if things don't go well, I don't care. So
That's actually a good thing. I don't know.
Thank you. So
back to the club. Student government's website told me that I needed a sponsor teacher to run the club. So I did that. I went to several teachers, a lot of teachers actually, not a lot actually, 6 teachers. Not a lot. Don't get me wrong, they all had a very valid reason, and I cannot tell you how much I actually appreciate it just to hear them say, okay, perfect, let's hear about the idea, and then just listen to me rant all along. But all of them said no. But the 7th one said yes. And that was Miss Rai. When Emma first came to you about starting Orators Society, what made you say yes when so many others didn't?
As a previous teacher of Emma's, I had full confidence in her ability to start a new club, and I felt that she had great leadership skills and work ethic to run a club such as this. I also love the idea of a club that promoted public speaking to build self-confidence in students who were anxious or nervous about presenting. And this applied to students across the board, from Canadian-born students to English language learners.
I remember myself going up to her that day, and then her just telling me I would do anything to make a club start running at the school. And I was so happy. And again, following student government's instructions, I filled out the proposal form. I emailed student government. I arranged a meeting with them. And I presented at their meeting by myself. And after the meeting, I was told by Miss Rai that she was watching me from the back door of the meeting room when I was doing the presentation, and how awesome it is when you know that someone actually cared about what you were doing. Thank you, Ms. Rai. Because from Emma's perspective, when she came up to you about the idea of Orator Society, she was greatly being believed in. And why do you think that mattered so much to her at that point of her life?
I think overall, the teenage years are probably the most difficult years. So those high school years are tough for students, for teenagers. And if a student has the confidence and the courage to come up with a new idea and feels they will be successful, the least a teacher or an adult can do is support them in any way that they can. And so when Emma approached me about this club, I had full confidence in her, and I loved the idea about the club, and I wanted to support her in any way that I could.
Someone. It's okay, keep going. What is up? We are filming right now. I'm so sorry. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It can be part of the backup scene. You want to dance? You want to dance?
Because I need someone to film for us. I'm so sorry.
We're kind of busy.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. No,
Okay. 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 Holy goodness. Okay, we're back. I didn't know how strict student government was when it came to clubs. And honestly, I still don't. But I could feel myself starting to expect something to happen, actually. And that was a completely different feeling from when I was doing Rebel Nations a few weeks ago. Because honestly, I thought it was such an amazing idea, and I wanted so bad for it to work. So that day during the meeting, after my presentation, I was sent out of the room for them to have a final discussion about the topic. And a few moments later, they told me to go back into the room. And then when I walked through that door, I saw them cheering, I saw them clapping, I heard people saying congratulations, and I knew it was courtesy. But for a grade 9 newcomer who once actually thought she could not make it anything in any way, that was the greatest feeling ever. Mr. Marzouk, why do you think Emma needed people to believe her?
I think when I met Emma, I felt that she believed in herself. And for people who believe in themselves, they need other people to believe in them. Otherwise, they are not going to reach their goal. And I feel like supporting Emma and believe in her, that's like I'm investing in students who I believe that will be successful in the future. So I show her that I believe in her, and actually she didn't disappoint me. So for sometimes she didn't do well in some units, but she came back right away. She used to come back and she say, I promise, Mr. Marzouk, I will do better the next time. And she never disappointed me. She did better by the end.
I guess it's really important for us to take what students tell us seriously, because it may take a lot for students to come up to us and say something that they've been struggling with, wondering whether they should tell us or not. So I could see that. As
a human being, we need some people to support us, believe in us, so we can reach our goal. And that's what made me believe in Emma.
Orators Society was not about being loud. It was, I would say it's more about being safe. Because I was locked down for 8 months. And as I would say, nobody else ever deserves that. So it did not start as a club. I think it started as a result of thinking we would never want to let anyone to be unheard or unseen ever again. The truth is, getting approved doesn't mean anything else. It just meant that we were allowed to exist. Most people freaked out whenever we told them that we were a public speaking-based club. And I know they were spreading the words far. Some thought it was embarrassing, some thought it was insane, and most people just decided that it was a joke. I heard people say things like, she is crazy, she craves attention, why would anyone ever do that to themselves? But that was all I was thinking about. Like, express yourself and speak up for yourself. And okay, maybe I did do it a little bit too assertively that people thought I was insane, but to be honest, those comments sort of lived in my head way longer than they should have. And I just let them talk around about it because I knew there wasn't really anything I could do about it, right? Do you think that you push Emma into doing things more, or that Emma pushes herself into doing things more?
She pushed herself way more than we ever could. If anything, we just worry that she pushed herself too much. But we know that who she is. She needs those goals. She needs achievements. That's what makes her happy, and we are willing to go with anything that makes her happy.
But then one day, okay, I remember this way too well. I was walking down the very busy upper A section hallway during a break, and somebody walked up to me and they were like, "All your executives are such quiet kids. Aren't you guys orators?" And that was the first time I have ever snapped, actually, in this entire school. I remember myself walking up to them, and right before I was about to grab their collar and shove them on the... I'm joking. But right before that, I started yelling. I was like, okay, where were you when I was trying way too hard for people to believe in this? Did you help me with anything? Hell no, you kissed your own ass and stepped by. Those people, they were actually the ones who came to me and said, yes, this is a great idea. I think we would be able to do it. Even if not, I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you in any way. I don't care if they're loud or quiet or depressed or happy. I don't care. At least they were the people that I knew I had when I had absolutely nobody else. And I regretted saying that the second I was done shouting, because I realized that I was just telling them how weak and how helpless I was. And yeah, they caught it. They caught it. They were waiting for me to say that. So I just saw those people high-five each other and then go away and saying something like, what a loser. I don't know. In your experience, what kind of pressure do high-achieving students carry usually?
These days, whether it's academics or athletics, I feel students carry a lot of pressure, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves. It's not exterior pressure, it's pressure they put on themselves, and they feel if they don't succeed, they're going to fail.
Then reality hit us again. We had no funding, and we were broke. I funded the club a little bit too late in the year to actually apply for any student government funding. And right before us was Rebel Fest. Rebel Fest was one of the biggest club events, aside from Clubs Fair, at the beginning of the year, for clubs to showcase what we have done throughout the year. We had achieved nothing. I founded the club in February. And I spent the whole entire 3 months running around, asking people for ideas, trying to figure out what the club was supposed to look like, crashing out, getting mocked, and that was all. That was all. In your experience, what kind of pressure do high-achieving students carry usually?
There's that expectation, the perfectionism that comes with expectations. I have to always get it right. And I think there's also overthinking maybe that comes from the expectations.
Peer pressure, because they are in environment which is totally different. They are in a class which is all the students looking for a high achievement. So peer pressure.
I know I see students sometimes studying in class, they've got textbooks across their laps and they're maybe not getting as much sleep as they should be getting. And so I think there's definitely some concerns about wanting to excel, but then also at what cost does that come at?
Miss Rai noticed how exhausted I was, and she told me that I could just leave it for this year and just observe if it's too much. First of all, that is the kindest thing someone could have ever said to me at that time, because the option was there all the time, but that was the kindest reminder that I still had a backup option, which is to give up. But the second after she was done talking, I immediately just went like, yeah, no, we're absolutely doing it this year. Right after I walked out of her classroom into the hallway, I just started laughing for like a whole minute, like a mad woman. So, Orators went all in. Banners, flyers, games, introductions, snacks, $280 in total. I argued with Student Gov's treasurer for 2 weeks, and we got $50 covered. We earned nothing. No money, no new members, and that was how we ended the year for our club. Okay, it didn't feel like a failure. It happens when you're just starting something new, right? But seriously speaking though, we got a huge takeaway, which was us believing in something ourselves does not guarantee at all that anyone else would. And you just gotta live with it. So I thought maybe the problem was like me. So I worked. And when you're trying really hard to get somewhere, you work as hard as possible to get ahead of yourself, mainly of everyone else, because you want to be, at least try your best to be the best, so that even if you are not the best, you're at least somewhere good enough to survive, which is aggressive, I know. But that was all I had in my mind when my gigantic plan of taking 4 summer schools in 1 month got rejected, and now I'm gonna skip the by who part.
Emma, did they tell you anything else?
No, all of their belief system was based on the belief that I was not able to handle 4 summer schools in 1 month. And I feel bad about the amount of effort they put into trying to make me give up. And after maybe 4 to 5 full-on debates, they were so defeated that they started questioning my ability to commute to school every day. So I told them, yes, my parents will drive me to school every day. They are really supportive of this. And my parents were also pissed when they heard about it. So they sent one email to them very objectively explaining the situation, and that shut them up real quick.
And which 4 summer schools were they?
Socials 10 and Science 10 offline, CLE 10 and PE 10 online.
Well, were you able to handle it?
Yes, and I passed with an average of 98.5.
Do you recommend it?
I'm not gonna stand here and tell people what to do with their lives, but seriously, it was painful. That's all I'm gonna say. This is some really good stuff. Like, you were in it, you knew it was something really grand, and then after everything happened, you look back about it, and you still feel like it mattered so much to you at that time, and that's when you know, like, it's really gonna stick in your head, like, possibly for your entire lifetime. But honestly, this traumatic experience, and it somehow also sticks in your head. Practices, tryouts, games, ref, getting yelled at by 150 people. Orientation, didn't have my study visa. I was arguing with the whole school board. I was like, please let me stay, let me stay. They were like, no, go home. 10 minutes. They let me stay. I don't know how I did that. But after all of that, drama started off in a very innocent, or I would even say like ignorant way, because I took this course only because I thought it was a mandatory course if I wanted to take theater company. So I somehow got in it, and then I somehow sank into it. And I did not know at that time that this was where all the good stuff started off. It was a new school year, so I was thinking, if I want to do my club any good, I would have to upgrade myself first, because there's got to be at least one person in the whole club who knows what to do if we ever were to face the 2024 Rebel Fest situation again.
I first heard about the SpongeBob musical at the end of grade 9. I went home that day and I immediately started crying. I wanted it so bad, but I also didn't want to quit basketball at all. I invested way too much into it, like time and energy and pride, and it became like almost a toxic relationship to me. At that time, it was completely draining. I just didn't know how to leave it at all.
When did you first notice Emma in the theater setting and what stood out to you?
Well, I've taught Emma in drama since grade 10.
Yes.
Yes, so we go back. And I just always noticed that she loves it. I think when you really enjoy something, it comes through in how you prepare yourself and how you present your work.
So I did the thing again. And I've been doing that thing ever since a crazy young age. And I never learned from my mistakes, ever. I grabbed on to both. I quitted basketball team, yes, but I immediately applied to be a basketball referee, which was really successful because I was on the team, just so I can make a little bit more space in my timetable for theater. And that actually changed everything.
Emma has been extremely grateful to have ever played the role of Pearl in the SpongeBob musical, for real. From Emma's perspective, she was being believed in. And why do you think being believed in mattered so much to Emma at that time of her life?
That's really great to hear. And I don't think it's specific to Emma. I think that particularly when an actor gets a vote of confidence by being cast in a role or being considered for something maybe that they thought was a little out of their reach or they weren't quite expecting, that boost of support can really affect your self-esteem and maybe drive you further in other areas. I know I feel the same way, and I've had students feel the same way too when they felt successful in a role that they weren't expecting.
Rehearsals became my antidote for the whole school year. Because in theater, nobody cared about my accent and nobody cared about how new I was. They cared that I showed up, that I listened, and that I cared myself. I finally didn't feel like I was sort of fighting to exist anymore.
Did you ever feel like Emma was carrying more than she should have?
Yes, absolutely. Especially when her grandparents say things like, she already has everything, why would she still burden herself like this? Sometimes we wonder the same thing, but we see that this drive comes from within herself. It's not about what she lacks, it's about what she sees herself as.
School itself was not just suddenly kind. With those 16 credits that I got from summer schools, I was put in a really weird spot with my schedule. I was in classes either with people that were older than me or with people that were younger than me. Some loved to remind me that I was younger. I'm joking, it's not that bad. But some actually loved to remind me that I was older. In one of my drama classes, there was this one day when we got back the grade for one of our performance projects. And this one kid looked over my shoulder, saw the huge extending on it, walked in front of me, pointed at my face and said, "So what if you're older than us?" I did not say anything at that time. So if you think I was ever gonna tough it up, no, I didn't. I sat in drama room and cried for an hour after that. And thank you, Ms. Dewar, for trying your best to make me feel better that day. I really appreciate that.
Throughout the time, did you notice any change in Emma's confidence or the sense of belonging over the time?
Well, when she just started out in drama, I believe you were new to the school, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Mm-hmm. So definitely I saw Emma's confidence grow, particularly because we were working on the classwork and the musical work at the same time. So we were making lots of different connections in lots of different areas around the same subject. So I think definitely over the year, I saw Emma's confidence grow from start to finish.
And remember basketball? Refereeing was even worse than being on the team, I'm gonna be honest, because when you were on the team, the most amount of pressure you were gonna have was gonna be from the coaches, your teammates, possibly your opponents. But when you are a referee, the pressure is coming from everywhere, all around the court. There was one game when I caught a hand check on one of the players. It was fine until then, but I walked past the edge of the bleachers and then I just heard someone screaming, I am gonna F that ref until she can't walk anymore. That was first half of the first game of the 3 games back to back that I was assigned that day. All right, there's another class, and I'm gonna stop ranting about miserable life after that. That year, guitar class. Also after one of the performance projects, a person came up to me and they asked me, how long have you been playing guitar? So I said, around 2 years. And they said, damn, what a sucker, and just walked away.
I think we have quite a few high-achieving students at this school in particular. We have so many AP classes that we offer and honors courses, and I know a lot of our students in the music program especially have expectations placed on them, whether they're placed on them by themselves or maybe from their families.
I am not exaggerating when I say I ran the theater rehearsals after school, Monday to Thursday, because that felt like the only thing that was keeping me alive through those months.
Was there ever a moment where you actually felt worried about Emma regarding any aspect?
Honestly, I can't think of any right now. Oh, I remember. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Emma had a pretty solid knee injury from basketball that we kept re-aggravating doing our choreography. You know, you heal a little bit, but not all the way, and then you re-injure it again. So yeah, that was an area that we were taking a look at.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
But in November, I threw my first ever party in my life, my 16th birthday party. I invited almost everyone in the theater cast that I could possibly reach out to. We were like singing and dancing and laughing. Over 20 people showed up. And for the first time in such a long time, I finally felt like I could, surprisingly, just let down my guard and be completely who I am in a room filled with people. I was talking a lot with a friend that day after the party. I will be honest, I never had such deep talks with anyone in my life before, except for my mom. We were actually typing essays, and yes, we were typing, we were not talking face to face. That felt amazing. Whenever I talked to that person, I felt like I was an amazing person. So I thought I could do something about it. Orators Society stumbled pretty hard in the last year. And I was thinking it was mostly because people were still disliking the idea of just giving free speeches in front of a whole bunch of people, right? So then I switched it. I was like, what if only one person as the entire audience? And what if you don't even have to see that person's face and that person doesn't even have to see your face when you guys are communicating? It all just clicked. I founded the podcast supervised by Orators Society called Number X. And yes, it was funny because we barely talk about it. It just exists. Which, if you think about it, is actually great because the goal of this podcast is not to gain a whole bunch of followers in any way. It's just to create a new form of space for people to be more willing to speak up for themselves. And from that point on, everything just started going upwards. Orators Society just took off. Our first sale, the minifigure sale, was sold out in 8 minutes. I hopped on a plane to a Taylor Swift concert that day right after school. I was so happy. Production week was peak that year. It was stressful and it was so exhausting, but I had never been that happy in such a long time.
because the feeling of building something with someone who you know, like you all care about this thing that you're building, it's the best thing ever. But then I got scared because I remembered how bad things were before. And my brain just kept telling me, well, you've been on the bright side, you've seen the dark side, it's hard to go back now. You gotta push through it. The amount of comfort and sense of belonging that I had in theater was so massive. And I believe in Murphy's Law, so I barely tell people when I am scared of something, but I guess I told myself a little too much this time.
Speaking of pressure, was there ever a moment where you actually felt worried about Emma?
I feel like Emma's pretty stable, well balanced, at least what I've seen in class. But I know last year during the musical, when she was playing Pearl in our production of SpongeBob, that it was just a lot for everybody, and especially for her because her co-star lost his voice, and so then she had to do some weird dialogue scenes with an offstage actor, and it was just a little bit different, and so she had to roll with it. And then of course you throw in cold and flu season, which was what was happening then. It was the beginning of March, and people are getting tired voices and tired bodies, and there's always a little bit extra drama with people being in close quarters. So I think that's probably the most stressful time. I think she handled it pretty well though. So, but yeah, I think that time of the year last year was probably the most stressful.
I was trying very hard to work things out with a person until the person told me straight to my face that they were getting their hands on something else. That's when I ended it. I was happy, but I was also, in the same amount, terrified, because pulling myself away from something like that, it never happened before, ever in my life, and I honestly did not know how to face it at all, and I would honestly say I thought that I couldn't care less about things like this. I cared a lot. So I was kind of just caught up in a cycle of pain and recovery and then pain again. So I did a thing that I thought would numb myself. I started working my ass off on everything. I mean, I had things to focus on. I had AP exams, I had people, I had volunteer work. That summer I volunteered for 2 places at the same time, like 6 days a week. And I earned 100 plus hours in under a month.
How do you think Emma changed over time regarding handling moments when things didn't go according to plan?
I think this is where I've been able to help her a little, because I'm a huge believer that good and bad things are always shifting. Nothing is fixed. I believe everything and everyone is constantly changing. So I've helped her to reframe things when they don't go as planned.
I made a lot of new friends, and yes, I did get closer with a lot of people that I never thought I would get close with. And I started noticing different things about people, little traits, small kindnesses, and reasons for me to stay. And then it just all happened again. Like, it's just a whole cycle of, it was not good at all. I was in a washroom stall one day, and then I heard 2 people walk in. Too bad I could not recognize who they were according to their footsteps or their voices, but I heard them. They were just saying, "Hey, did you hear about Emma and that guy?" "Yeah. How lame is Emma? Her man literally had to go off with other women." No, I did not have the courage to go out and see who they were. I just cried in the stall and waited until they finished the conversation and went out and went back to my class. But it's funny how people can just rewrite your whole self into something that you don't even recognize. What hurts more than the rumors was the people who actually believed it. And a lot of them were the people that I thought would never. And that became fear. And that fear teaches you stuff. The more I relied on something, the more I just feared losing it. And after a lot of conversations with a lot of my friends and my parents, the lesson that I got was that I should not rely solely on something for me to be myself. Not one person, one rumor, just one version of me.
There is this Joseph Campbell's quote we always come back to, like we have to let go of the life that we plan so as to have the life that is winning for us. This perspective helps us to navigate those unexpected moments because we believe that when there is one door closes, it's not an ending, it's just the beginning of something else.
So that was, again, when the idea started changing, because all these years I've been caring so much about the fact that people were speaking, but I sort of underestimated the weight of how and what people speak. I was thinking, what if we could just change the way that people use their words? What if instead of trying to compete to tear each other down, we compete to build each other up? And that's when we came up with the most ridiculous idea ever called Kindness KO. 2 people, 1 battle, compliments flying all over, no insults, just telling the other person how amazing they are. You only need to outdo your opponent with kindness. And at first it was awkward.
What can I say about FIFA? FIFA! What happened to English?
Because people were so used to holding back, saying nice things like they don't matter, but gradually we just heard the most exciting and ridiculous compliment you could ever give a person, and everybody was laughing and actually, for once, listening to what each other were saying.
Yes, roses are red, violets are blue. My eyes stick on you like glue. Oh. Baby, you light up the world.
I can see you as a man in my future.
And then for one moment, no one was worried about rumors. No one was worried about getting hurt. No one was worried about how to protect themselves. We were all just trying to be kind as much as possible. So, actually, the kind of comfort or sense of belonging that I've been looking for this whole time doesn't really come from, first of all, it's not possible, but even if you are a perfect person, you can be visualized or addressed to other people, by other people, in another way that makes you imperfect. But to be honest, the whole kindness KO thing was nothing more than a perfect utopia that I wish existed. And, you know, grade 11, new year, new people, old people, you know what I mean?
He was touching my waist and my butt and making kiss sounds. And it took me almost a whole year to be able to say it out loud like this without grossing myself out. So I told my manager, right? And she said, I think you should wear more clothes. It was midsummer, mid-July, and I was wearing a t-shirt and baggy jeans. So I didn't get it. I still don't get it. I just switched the program after that happened because I knew, like, if even she thought that I deserved to be harassed, then all I could do was run. And as I said, I never want any conflict. Those things are exhausting.
Some of them treated me like shit, some of them loved me, and really, I didn't really have the time or energy to fight any of those. But then something else crept in, and that was when I started
thinking a lot about how I was seen all the time. This was the year that I started tuning myself down as much as possible.
She said she hated me, and she said it straight to my face, right by the cafeteria. She said, like, I was the nicest and the fakest person she'd ever seen, that I tried too hard for nobody to appreciate, and that she absolutely despised everything I had been doing. So I said, thanks for telling me. Not a lot of people have the guts to actually do that. My ultimate stance is that I have been and would always be nice and polite to everybody, no matter what. And it is your decision on whether you choose to be nice or mean to me. But that decision of yours will not affect the way I treat you or anyone else. So I kept talking. I was like, you know you're not the only one, right? Like, there's tons of people who hates people just in the school. And I know everyone has their own way of looking at things, so I don't mind if some people don't like me. But rest assured, I cannot guarantee that you will be completely satisfied with me. However, I will keep my word, and given your honesty, I will consider you a good friend, and I will always be open to you as well. So I guess that solves the problem, and even if it doesn't, I honestly don't care anymore.
One of my friends was a really big fan of my music, and one day they let me to one of the bulletin boards, and I saw they were putting up posters of QR codes to my latest released album on every single bulletin board they could possibly find. I feel bad about it because they were really proud of it and they really put a lot of effort into it. But my first reaction was I saw the poster and then I started panicking. And then I started saying things like, what if people think I did it myself? What if people think I am a narcissist? And that was the moment that I realized being seen was not simple anymore. And since I couldn't control what other people do, I tried to control something else about myself. I stopped eating. I would eat breakfast and then nothing for the entire day. Just because I felt the need to appear good in front of other people. I still went out with my friends, hanging out to have lunch or dinner, but every time after that, I would just feel a huge pang of guilt wash all over me. And then when I get home, I would just be completely depressed for the rest of the day because I thought I was eating like more than I was supposed to. And I remember my friends asking me about it because they saw me eat nothing during lunchtime. And then I would lie to them and I would say I ate my lunch right after my first period. And when you're so eager to achieve something that you start doing it in a really unhealthy way, you know what happens? Nothing happens. My body, my face, my weight went down by a significantly small number, but nothing else changed. I was getting so caught up in all my extracurricular and APs, and then I had absolutely no time to exercise. And then you know how your body breaks its regular functioning base, your emotions also follow. Your hormone secretion starts getting weird and you lose sleep at night and you're breathless constantly during the day and you are just not mentally or physically stable at all.
Our high achieved student, they usually carry the fear of failure or disappointing. So they are usually very cautious about disappointing. This is too much pressure.
And then I would get even more anxious because I saw no change appearing on myself at all. So I would eat even less. And it's just such a bad cycle that I had right there. And I knew exactly what I was doing to myself, but I just didn't stop because I was getting fed up by my social life completely, that I absolutely just ignored all the scientific facts until my mom's surgery. She had been carrying this huge tumor in her uterus for years, which would make her
bleed excessively during her period, and a lot of the times even not during her period. And so she decided to take care of it in a more professional way. I had 3 APs and an honors class on the day of her surgery, and I was completely ready to just miss all of them, but she told me sternly, go to your classes. And I remembered how frequently I just snuck my phone out of my backpack during AP bio, and then just texted my dad, how's it going, how's it going, how's it going? And then until I saw my dad send a photo of my mom after her surgery, lying in her bed, waving to the camera. Ironically, that was the first time that I scientifically and emotionally felt the importance of staying healthy for yourself and also for the people that cared about you. Well, I kept starving myself for quite a while because, old habits, but I started eating lunch, and that mattered. I was still doing amazing, trust me. Academics, extracurricular, clubs, all those things, yes. But for the first 4 months of school, I was constantly living in fear of being seen, which is ironic because that was all the 14-year-old Emma was dreaming for. Remember how I said I was tuning myself down a lot more this year? It was actually by that I was able to hear less about what other people say and just focus on reflection. At our first general meeting this year for Orators Society, I mentioned a fact. We don't have members, as in we don't really have a fixed list of who's in our club and who's not. I think I wanted Orators Society to be this way. And our ultimate goal for the club is for people to just make connections naturally. It never should be forced in any way. And your only 2 jobs are to be flexible and to be strong. I've been telling people about the story of how I created this event during summer break, grade 10, going into grade 11. Our amazing club designer, Maya, sent me a reel, told me, hey, this could be an event. That's the short version. The real version, I thought back about all the talks and all the back comments about me and the club, and then I found out it was partially my problem. I was obsessed with the idea of letting people speak up and having them be seen, but I ignored the fact that maybe not all of them want to be seen in such a public way. And I'm surprised that it took me over 2 years to figure that out. So, while we were stuck being a public speaking based club, I still changed what I could change. New event, story drops, a monthly theme, anonymous submissions, club executives read aloud to all of the club members, videos clipped, shared on Instagram. Everything is done anonymously, voices shared. No pressure, no faces, just simply being heard. Because this time, we don't want to just create space for the loud ones. We actually want to create spaces for every single person.
She really seemed like she knew what she was doing.
Wait, let me picture Emma. Yeah, long hair.
She tries her best to help everyone around her.
2 eyes, oval face shape.
Even just when I get here early and I just chat with you before class, that's just all positive vibe all around.
Laughs funny.
She just will be like a real nice friend. She'll be honest with you.
Wow, that's so nice of you.
If Emma stopped peer tutoring, would it ever make a difference to you?
Absolutely not.
My entire grade 11 year has been a constant rush between academics, AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Calculus, AP, and AP Capstone, rehearsals, performances, and 2 clubs at the same time, Music Council as the secretary, and Orators Society. And it just never really stopped. I would say that all the shenanigans about my social life in the past year was both traumatizing and enlightening for me.
Because while I absolutely hated what happened, I couldn't stop thinking about all the possibilities. Like, I wish none of it ever happened. I wish the person stayed the same. I wish this person didn't do this to me. I wish that person didn't do that to me. I wish it was all like the same as before. But that's not how it works at all. It was a whole healing process, but what hurt the most was that I could see how distant I was from a lot of people compared to before. And I will not talk about forgiveness in this case, because you do not necessarily need that, in my opinion, to move on in your life and do other things. But after what happens, there's always gonna inevitably be a knot that's tied in your heart that you just don't know how to untie it. And that changes the way you see people and separates you from people. A lot of people.
I hope people understand that what Emma did and what she's doing, she is trying to prove to herself that she's doing her best and she's worthy of what she has. She's never trying to prove she's better than anyone else. Everything she does comes from wanting to create something she really loves and cares about, no matter it's for her or for the others. I know a lot of what she does might look intense from the outside, but it comes from a genuine place. She just doesn't like giving herself any excuses.
Everything just slowly, actually quickly fell apart. It was just a message, but the rule itself, it just suddenly existed. And I clarified with the authorities later, and I got a clear answer that nobody ever made the rule. And I was told that the rule existed for some reason, and they just thought I was never gonna find out. Emma, what was the rule? I always hate to name drop or like give anyone away in any kind of situation, but it just meant that some people were about to be left out just because they could do that to them. And that was something I could not just ignore. And maybe it's because I've been through similar situations. It's such a personal thing, but I have been excruciatingly sensitive to that line, like who gets included, who gets pushed to the side, and who gets told that they don't belong without anyone actually saying the word. When it started happening right in front of me, to the people who trusted me, it just felt painfully personal, and I was just like, fine, if I have to fight for this, I will. So I did. I asked questions, I pushed back, and I walked into conversations that I knew would be hella uncomfortable, and I stayed there anyway. I never wanted any conflict. And in fact, I usually avoid conflicts as much as I can, but I hated the fact that they might keep doing that to other people, and if I'm gonna be the one to speak up, then I will. If I didn't say anything, I would have just been accepting the people I cared about being in the same situation I've been in before, which I honestly never want anyone to ever be in. And in the end, it just turned out that the rule was never even there to begin with. So thank goodness I was finally brave enough to say something. I kept getting hit by a huge amount of disappointment, and I kind of just found out the way that I use to heal myself during these kind of things to create a utopia. And if you think back about how I created Carrington Seymour, that was sort of basically the same thing. And then something unexpected happened. I started peer tutoring this year. I didn't think much about it at first, but then it changed the whole game. Our first question is, what was your first impression of Emma?
When I first saw her, she looked beautiful. She was really easy to talk to. I was like really admired by all the work she's done at just grade 10.
Emma is a really kind person and she's really helpful in class.
would have been from SpongeBob the Musical when I first saw her playing as Pearl. To be honest, I was like, damn, that girl got a lot of guts to be saying daddy, 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 daddy all the time.
She gave the impression of somebody who was really confident.
I did not at all expect peer tutoring to be my antidote for this year. Remember before it was theater? No, this year it was peer tutoring. Not to brag, I did not ever realize before how good I was at making connections with people that I actually want to make connections with. And the kids, having learned from my past experiences, again, I thought that they would be mean. And yes, some of them were at first. And yes, I decided again to put up with all of them.
Did you notice any differences between how Emma performed on stage and how she carried herself off stage?
No, I don't think so. I think she's pretty confident and outgoing and in real life, and then that carried over onto the stage as well, because she's been in the leadership class working with the grade 9 band and getting up on, I was going to call it a stage, it's not a stage, but getting up on the podium, it kind of feels like a stage sometimes, getting up on the podium and standing in front of 60 students and conducting up there takes a lot of confidence and a lot of energy, and she does that really well on like a pretty daily basis. So yeah, and that transfers to the stage as well.
The second impression was when she started conducting, and I thought, it's kind of bad. I have to say I was kind of judging her a lot.
Let's skip the unhappy part, because referring to what happened before, I was constantly ready for anyone to be mean at any time, because that was how I pictured my life in a normal setting. But this, it turned out completely differently. And yes, when I saw the mean kids, I was just like, yeah, do what you do, whatever makes you happy. But then, surprisingly, those kids just turned out to be the sweetest and most adorable person I've ever seen in my whole life.
Did that impression of Emma ever change over time?
Actually, I feel like it changed when in 9th grade, you got to be our peer tutor for a band. That was really nice. You were someone that knew what she was doing. Miss Carly Part 2.
While she was timid at first, over time, she grew to be more active in the band room by conducting.
It has definitely changed. I'm surrounded by more people, and like by actually interacting with you, I just realized like, oh, you're just like another high schooler. Whereas before, I like put you on like a really high pedestal, and that really like turned down the intimidation.
Oh, obviously. Once I got to know you much better, I was like, yeah, you're actually a really cool person. I enjoy being around you.
This is gonna sound ridiculous, but the good thing about the ones that are younger than you when you're in a school setting is that their vision of you is the vision of you when they first saw you. And there would inevitably be a part of my past that is just completely blank to them. And that will be sort of the reason they tend to care less about my past, because they care more about who I am in the moment, being with them and hanging out with them. And that was honestly all I was asking for ever since the struggle began. Like, for people to see me in a way that I am reformed from everything that I went through, instead of in a way that, oh, this happened to her and that happened to her, so that's who she is now.
Do you feel different when you're with Emma compared to when you're in other classes?
It is quite more fun with you other than with my other peer tutors, since you really know how to light up the mood. I mean, Emma is my math peer tutor, but she low-key makes things easy for me, and she doesn't make things complicated. Just tells me the answer, and maybe we have a nice convo after.
I do think other peer tutors are very different from Emma. Emma is definitely a unique person.
I feel more focused in class when she's there rather than without her.
When she's in the band room and conducting, it always feels lively in the room.
And I would have like the most stressful day ever. And then I would go into my peer tutoring class, whether it was Math 8 or Grade 9 intermediate band. And I see the kids and I'm just like, gosh, it's all worth it. And yes, I'm sounding like a tired mom or dad coming home from work. Don't mind that. But anyways, when you appreciate something, you would uncontrollably start building up the want or the sense of responsibility of protecting them from everything that could possibly hurt them.
How do you usually recognize when a student is struggling?
Just changes in personality, in peppiness, in happiness.
The student tends to become more reserved. We also notice attendance issues, the students not attending classes.
If students want to be out of the classroom, like long breaks.
They're not doing their homework, they're not doing well on test.
Not interested in what's going on, not interacting with the material and the activity is happening in the class.
And I guess at this point, I've gone through enough, or at least I'm old enough to look back on several older versions of me and compare them to each other. I saw the grade 8 Emma, who was on top of everything. I saw the grade 9 Emma, who fell from the pedestal. I saw the grade 10 Emma, who met so many people all of a sudden and got better and then got worse again. And then I also saw the grade 11 Emma at the beginning of the year, who was still trying to live on with her life. And that was when I found out it's not been easy. Never. All along. Almost all the time. I go through something, get forced to bounce back because you have to move on in your life, and then bleed and cry and do whatever, and then just keep living on while the scars were not healed yet. And so my appreciation for the kids sort of tied up with the idea of collaboration that's been haunting me this whole time, and that made me think about something even before the stage of high school, elementary school.
When I first saw you, I really saw you as like a very kind and nice person, and you always knew what to do or what to do next.
I was a really chill person. Like talking to her feels like a breeze.
I personally think you're a really good person to look up to, and yeah, Orators Society as well. It's really nice that you did all of these.
I wanted the kids to know what's coming. Not to scare them, but more to prepare them that the people they're about to meet are not monsters. They're just people who are trying to grow just like them. They would be lucky enough if they never get the chance to be hurt by any of them, but if they ever were to, they would have enough courage and confidence to face them and stand up against them if ever needed.
I texted one of my younger club executives, Edith. I was like, hey, which elementary did you go to? And when she texted back, Suncrest. Why? That's when everything clicked. This was the idea of the blah blah workshop, that we would create a space in the elementary school, no stage, no pressure, just expression. Games, singing, dancing, storytelling, and the kids would know that they are brave, they are strong, and that they at least have the full potential to be influential. And if they ever were to just get into high school and bump into some people, what I hope is they would think of this workshop and how their friends or themselves even just stepped forward in front of a whole bunch of people and just did a whole thing. So when they look back on the things or the people that they were going to be facing, they're just going to be like, yeah, whatever makes you happy. But hold on, hear me out. I am really proud of this. This time, they have the option to step forward or not, because I finally learned that not everybody wants to be seen, but everybody deserves to be heard. And at least in those 45 minutes, they are.
Behind all the achievements and confidence, she's just a kid who feels things very strongly. She feels disappointment, she feels excitement, she feels responsibilities too.
I think to some people it might seem like I already made it. Like I'm on some big stage, telling my story, shining, figured out. No. And by no, I mean two things. First, not everybody needs a stage like that. Second, I am not on some big stage. Were you ever scared or nervous around Emma?
No, she was scared of me actually. She saw my aura as I walked into the band room. And she was like, whoa! Who's that dude? That was me.
Well, the first time I saw her, she was like so beautiful and she looked like a cool kid. So it made me kind of, nervous. But after knowing her, everything changed because she's so nice and so kind and so amazing.
I was kind of nervous when I first met you, I think, like in person. I was like, wow, Emma, Mama.
Yes, I actually was pretty scared of you since I'm not very confident myself, and I thought you were extremely confident.
I don't think I've ever really felt scared with Emma. I mean, I did come to Burnaby South being a new student, but Emma kind of made that easier.
Hearing stories from my sister before about all your accomplishments also made me really intimidated because it made me think oh, is this the standard for high schoolers? Are we going to have to be making sauces, doing this and doing that? I think the moment it changed really was when I started to talk to you because it really humanized the version of you.
Everybody has their own stages, and if we were to look even deeper, we each have several stages. Some are big, some are small, and some no one even ever gets to see. And if you watched my story up until this point, you will know that I've been lost, I have struggled, and I've had moments where I just had no idea what I was doing, and that is okay. You are allowed to struggle, to not have everything figured out, but amongst all of that, you gotta find your own voice. Or at least you will have to learn what the voice that you wanna follow sounds like. Maybe right now you don't yet have the courage to let it out, or maybe you do, but you just don't have a platform or a space to do so. That's why we exist. Not to tell you what to say, but to encourage and show you how to say it and give you the platform to say it freely, safely, and honestly. Because we are not a destination. This is a bridge between who you are right now and who you are trying to become. Was there ever a moment where you actually felt worried about Emma?
To be honest, I have never worried about Emma. I feel that she does put a lot of pressure on herself, but she is at a point in her life where she's mature enough to know how to handle those situations, or if she can't, to be able to go to a trusted adult for that support.
And as we grow, we're gonna hear a lot of voices, teachers and friends and parents, but you're gonna find your own voice because you sort of have to. In the world that is so insanely complex and noisy these days, the worst we can do is to follow blindly, but the best we can do is to listen and choose. Wherever that voice leads you, just keep going.
I would like to say it here, not only for Emma, but also for everyone that has done something, made anyone proud, please don't take anyone's achievement for granted. You never.
You good?
Yeah. You never really know how hard the process was and how much they had to give up just to make themselves feel alive and relative to the world. Emma has been through a lot. I'm so proud of her, and I just hope she could learn to be a little gentle with herself along the way.
And if you can hear your own voice, then make your own choices. Be responsible for it, stand by it, and that is honestly enough.
That would be asking questions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I know the way you laugh when you get shy, but I always catch your eyes. I know your smile when you wanna from every side of mine. I know you notice everything I do. You look away but stay in view. You act so cool but I see right through. And I think you know I do. No clue what I'm supposed to do. All the moves you take make everything feel new. To whom? To you. Is it the same too? How come I don't know what it's like to have someone to choose? I know you feel it when I'm next to you. The air shifts just a few. You know I'm scared to re-pursue, just better at pretending through. You know I catch the things you miss, like every almost touch we skip. You know I'd risk it if you did, even just a little bit. No clue what I'm supposed to do. All the moves you take make everything feel new. To whom? To you. Is it the same too? How come I don't know what it's like to have someone to choose? No clue. I'm choosing you. To whom? To you.
My aura is so great. My aura surrounds me.
All cool. I'm choosing you. You. Yes, you. No clue. I'm supposed to do all the moves you take everything you do. To whom? To you. Is it the same too? How come I don't know if it's true? All cool.
Oh my gosh, this is a serious situation.
Excuse never say it's straight, but I think we always knew. Ooh, you, yes you. How could I ever refuse? Even if I don't know what it's like, I'd still have someone
Sorry,
to
Emma does not believe in
choose.
me. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay, now I come in and then I clean and then you